No one in the wealthy town of Briarwood had ever succeeded in handling the Blackwood twins, Ava and Aria. Their reputation was legendary at Roswell Academy and beyond. The daughters of billionaire Alexander Blackwood, they were known for their cold stares, sharp tongues, and the chaos they left behind wherever they went. Teachers feared them, nannies resigned within days, and even seasoned psychologists walked away defeated. The twins had turned their grief into rebellion ever since their mother's death, and their emotionally distant father had buried himself in work, leaving them to raise themselves in a mansion full of silence. But everything changed the day Liam Carter, a humble single father working as a school janitor, was called into the headmistress's office. Liam was quiet, hard-working, and worn by life's burdens. His 9-year-old son, Ethan, suffered from chronic asthma, and every paycheck Liam earned went toward medication and hospital bills. When the headmistress informed him that Mr. Blackwood personally requested him to work at the estate as a caretaker for double his current salary, he hesitated only for a moment, then thought of Ethan's fragile breaths and nodded. That evening, rain poured heavily as Liam approached the towering iron gates of the Blackwood mansion. The vast estate loomed like a castle swallowed by shadows, cold and unwelcoming. As the doors creaked open, the twins stood at the top of the marble staircase, identical in their flawless appearance and piercing blue eyes. Ava smirked with a kind of practiced cruelty, while Aria folded her arms, unimpressed. "Another one?" Ava scoffed. "He won't last a week," Aria added with a sigh. Liam didn't react, didn't flinch, he simply wiped the rain from his forehead and said softly, "Well, let's hope I do. Crying doesn't suit me." For the first time, the twins exchanged a glance of curiosity rather than disdain. As the storm roared behind him and the mansion's cold air surrounded him, Liam stepped inside, unaware that he was walking into the most difficult and life-changing chapter of his life. But he wasn't afraid. After all, a man who has held his son's hand through sleepless nights knows how to face storms, even the ones that live inside broken hearts. Liam's first week at the Blackwood mansion was nothing short of a battlefield. From the moment he arrived, the twins made it their mission to break him like they had broken every caretaker before. On his first morning, he found his mop glued to the floor and black ink poured into his bucket. He simply chuckled, fetched another mop, and continued working. On the second day, his toolbox was filled with live frogs the twins had collected from the garden pond. He gently picked them up one by one and released them outside, whispering, "You're free now," while the girls watched from the balcony, baffled. On the third day, he discovered his lunch, carefully packed sandwiches meant for Ethan, floating in the fountain. But instead of shouting in anger, he quietly cleaned up and made instant noodles for himself, saving the last piece of bread for Ethan. What unsettled the twins most was not his silence, but his kindness. Each evening, after finishing his chores, Liam would sit by the kitchen table and call Ethan, asking about his homework or reminding him to take his inhaler. His voice would soften in a way the mansion had never heard before. One evening, as he passed the grand piano room, he paused upon hearing soft, hesitant notes. Aria sat alone, her fingers trembling over the keys, her eyes reflecting silent pain. She froze when she noticed him. But Liam didn't question or scold, he simply placed a clean handkerchief beside her and said gently, "Don't stop playing just because someone is watching." Then he walked away. Later that night, Ava found Ethan's crumpled drawing in the trash, 2 stick figures holding hands, with a third one slightly faded. On the back, it read, "I miss Mom, but Dad says we're still a family." The twins stared at the paper for a long time, their cruel games suddenly feeling heavy. For the first time, they wondered, was Liam's calm strength not weakness, but something else? Something they had long forgotten, love, the kind that doesn't shout or leave. As the mansion quieted into the night, the storm inside the twins' hearts softened, just a little. The Blackwood mansion was wrapped in silence the night everything changed. Dark clouds gathered, and thunder rumbled faintly as the rain began to fall. Liam was in the kitchen preparing tea after a long day when his phone buzzed. Ethan's weak voice came through, "Dad. I can't breathe well." Liam's heart stopped. He rushed to the small guest room Ethan was staying in and found his son clutching his chest, his breaths shallow and ragged. Panic swelled inside him, but he forced himself to stay calm. "It's okay, buddy. I'm here," he whispered, lifting Ethan in his arms. The inhaler wasn't in his bag. He had forgotten to replace it that morning. Ava and Aria, who had been sneaking around planning another prank, stopped dead when they saw Liam kneel on the hallway floor, cradling Ethan as the boy gasped for air. All color drained from their faces. Ava trembled. "What's happening to him?" Liam's voice broke. "Asthma attack. I need his medication, now." Without hesitation, Aria ran toward her father's study and grabbed the emergency number, while Ava called Mr. Blackwood with shaking fingers. Liam carried Ethan through the storm to the front gate, rain soaking through his clothes as lightning split the sky. Moments later, the roar of helicopter blades filled the air. Mr. Blackwood's private medical team had arrived. Ethan was rushed into the helicopter, with Liam at his side. For the first time in years, the twins stood outside, drenched in rain, their eyes filled not with arrogance, but fear and guilt. Hours later, at the hospital, Liam sat beside Ethan's bed, holding his small hand, whispering prayers into the sterile silence. The twins stood at the doorway, unsure whether they were allowed to step closer. Aria spoke first, her voice a fragile whisper. "Is he going to be okay?" Liam nodded, tears glistening in his tired eyes. "He will be." Ava stepped forward with trembling lips. We didn't know. "We're sorry." Liam looked at them, not with anger, but with quiet sadness, and simply said, "Just be kind. You never know what battles someone is fighting." In that moment, something within the twins cracked, not in weakness, but in awakening. For the first time, they felt what it meant to care. Ethan recovered slowly over the next few days, and during that time, something within the Blackwood mansion shifted forever. Ava and Aria, once known for their cruel tricks and icy silence, began to appear at Ethan's bedside every morning, bringing books, drawing supplies, and even small pastries they attempted to bake themselves. They no longer saw Liam as just a janitor, but as someone who had stood firm when everyone else ran. Mr. Blackwood, too, found himself lingering at the hospital instead of his office boardrooms, watching in quiet disbelief as his daughters laughed softly with Ethan and listened attentively when Liam spoke. One afternoon, when Ethan finally smiled and whispered, "I can breathe again," the twins exchanged a look that said everything. They had found something they didn't know they were missing: family. A week later, back at the mansion, Mr. Blackwood invited Liam and Ethan to his study. There were no stern orders, no cold business tone, only gratitude. "You did what money never could," he said, voice low. "You reached them." He placed a folder on the desk. It wasn't a termination letter, but a new contract. Liam blinked in confusion as Mr. Blackwood continued, "Stay. Not as a janitor, but as head of household, and more importantly, as someone my daughters trust." Before Liam could speak, Ava stepped closer, her usual arrogance replaced with hope. "We don't want another caretaker," she said quietly. "We want you." Aria nodded, her eyes glistening. "And Ethan too. If he wants, we'd like him to be our brother." Liam felt his throat tighten as Ethan looked up at him with wide, hopeful eyes. He didn't need to think. He smiled through tears and whispered, "Yes." From that day forward, the mansion no longer echoed with loneliness. Mornings were filled with shared breakfasts, evenings with piano music and laughter, and nights with quiet peace instead of storms. Ava and Aria stopped being the untouchable Blackwood twins. Instead, they became protective sisters to Ethan, students of kindness, and daughters who finally let their father hold them again. Liam had not just done the impossible, he had rewritten all their lives with patience, love, and unwavering strength. And the mansion, once cold and silent, became a home.